Welcome back, guys, and of course, as always, thank you so much for watching. So first, before we get into this video, I gotta say, if I sound nasally, it's because I am. I got some kind of a fungus or virus or whatever. Who knows what it is, but the show must go on, so we are gonna press forward. So the subject is still targets. First of all, if you like to shoot, I'm thinking you probably do if you clicked on this video, maybe. If not, cool anyway, thanks for watching. But if you like to shoot and you've never shot it still, you need to do it. It's a lot of fun. And I will tell you from personal experience, I got to watch where I'm going here, but from personal experience, you won't want to shoot paper ever again unless you're just using it to zero a weapon. Shooting still is very interactive. You can set up multiple targets and it makes it a lot of fun. And you also learn, it'll kind of humble you a little bit because you'll see just how much you miss whenever you're shooting. Or maybe that's just me. But also, when you're doing it, I'm going to be the fun police here for just a second. Use common sense. Shooting is a lot of fun and it can be very rewarding and it can be safe if you do it right. But shooting still, you want to make sure you get things set up right. Know the limitations of both what you're shooting yourself and also the weapon you're using to shoot, the pistol or rifle, right? So, but anyway, let's get down here. We're going to take a look at some of these targets and just kind of walk around and just kind of show you guys how we set them up, why we set them up the way we did, and also for the ones that I can find info on, where we got them from. So here's our targets right here. We don't have a ton of them, but it is a work in progress. And just so you kind of know, this goes down and then up. So it kind of gives you a great backstop back there, all the natural berm, the natural hillside or whatever. But for shooting targets, there's basically two types. There's pistol ones and rifle ones. The rifle ones, everything I see is considered AR-500. Now, I don't know what that means. I know that's what they call them. These two right here are AR-500. Everything up there on that hill is AR-500. The only pistol-rated targets we have are these two. Now, we bought these two. So these two came in a set with some stands, and I'll get to these in just a moment, like where they came from and all that, as a set when we first moved out here. The price difference, just what I've noticed looking at AR-500 versus, sorry, I cannot talk, versus pistol rated is negligible. In other words, if it were me, I would just put AR-500 still everywhere. Now, the common sense part comes in is right here. You can see we've got some up close targets and then we've got some that are across that creek and way up there. Anywhere you go and look for targets for sale, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you the limitations. What I read usually is for pistols, you want to be about anywhere. I've read anywhere from 7 to 15 yards. These are about 10 to 12. I think these are 10 and then those are 12. And then they say for rifles, you need to be at least 100. I can tell you that is not 100 yards, and I shoot within 100 yards all the time. So don't worry, if you shoot at 99 yards, the world is not going to explode, okay? I think those are just kind of guidelines, but be careful, be safe, and set them up correctly. And we'll walk around, I'll kind of show you how we set them up and what I mean by the safe part and all that. But it is great, I can tell you. It is a lot of fun, and you can see right here, if you're shooting a pistol, especially if you're doing a pistol caliber carbine, you can go from target to target to target to target and hit the ones across the creek there. And it's very interactive, and you can see in through here, we've got room to set more up if we want to go. But let's go down here and start looking at this first set and see what we got. So our first little targets here were actually literally the first ones we ever bought. We bought this from a place called Magnum Targets. I'll put a link below. And these are pistol only. I think these are 3/8. Let's see if we can get this. Yeah, we'll call that 3/8. Yeah, that's 3/8. Close enough. 3/8 inch. And these things stay out here. All these targets, by the way, stay out here all the time. And these were the first ones I bought, like I said. And we originally, when we came out here, we just had these targets and we would just come out here, stomp these in the ground and hang them up. And the way these work is, because some of you may be like, why in the world do you shoot still? Is what you want to happen is, if you think of physics, I know it hurts my brain to think of physics, but when you hit this, you want it to swing. So what happens is it makes contact, and all of your, I guess, debris, what's left of the round, will go down here. If you sat here and shot at this all day, you're just going to see a line in the dirt here where they go down. So in theory, everything goes down and hits the ground. Now that doesn't mean stuff cannot come back. I'm sure it can. Wear eye protection. Like I said, use common sense. And the same one with this one. These are the up close. We don't, I do shoot at these. These aren't what I would call my main fun targets, but we do leave them out here. And also, real quick, as far as paint goes on these, I used to try to get creative, so I'd go up on the hill and use different colors. One of them up there is still white. This is the cheap stuff I get at Home Depot. It used to be under $1 a can. I'm sure now it's like, way more than that. But I tried to get all, creative and use different colors. It's just too expensive. But all you got to do is just hit these with some paint when you're done, and that's it. You leave them out here. They're perfectly fine. Hey, they're targets. You're shooting at them, right? They're going to be fine. These guys right here, now these are really cool. So, and they are on T-posts. I just stepped in a big hole. That's good. I'll fall and break my leg. I just stepped in another one. Maybe I should watch where I'm going and try to pay attention. All right, here we go. Now I'm not falling over. Now, if you notice, these guys right here are angled, right? And they are on a T-post. So here's what I love about T-posts. This is hilly land. You can see that. You can see the incline, like I'm using the ruler here to point at stuff. And that alone, when the bullet strikes, it'll go down and hit down here on the ground. Now, again, be careful, set this stuff up properly. And these came from, I think, AR5. Oh, there it is right there. AR500 Target Solutions. I was right. There you go. And these are not the cheapest in the world right here, but the reason I wanted these is because being as heavy as they are, I like the idea of them already being angled when I shoot at them. In other words, if I'm shooting them with a 22 and they don't even move, I'm afraid something could come back. So that's why I set these up like this. This one over here is the same. This is actually the first one we put out here. And you can actually see here where we have hit the T-post a few times. So that will need to be replaced, but T-posts can be bought anywhere. They also will move. So you can see here, they will still move in some because these don't stay on here tight. So love these, especially for pistol shooting up close and pistol caliber carbines. They're absolutely great. And I could see putting a few more of these in the woods right here. But wonderful targets, again, angled, up close. Never had any kind of problems with them whatsoever. And we're also shooting downhill, which probably helps a lot too with the angle. Actually, probably helps quite a bit. And then, of course, here we've got these little light ones. But these are great. And then the mounts that they came with them, they're not the cheapest mounts in the world. I will say that. But they hold up well. And I have shot and hit this bolt before a few times, and it has not done anything to it. So it has done very well. But great targets, a lot of fun. And again, they've been out here this whole time. They're holding up very well. So we're going to move across the creek down here and see what we got set up. Oh, and I forgot to measure these too. And just to emphasize, these are AR500. These should be 3/8 as well. Let's see here. Can we get it? Can we get it? Yes, 3/8. 3/8 inch. Get to this side. I'm so glad I put this bridge in years ago. It's a good way to throw your back out jumping across that creek. Ask me how I know. All right, so over here, this is one of the original targets. What is that red from, by the way? I don't even know what that's from. That's funny. Anyway, so this is one of the original targets. This one did come from Magnum Targets. This is an AR500 rated for rifles. It is a little close to the range. I would say about maybe 35, 40 yards. And yes, I do shoot at rifles sometimes. I'm feeling froggy. Never had a problem, breaking the rules, whatever. But again, we're shooting downhill, and this one swings pretty easily. And these targets, by the way, these target stands, by the way, that they sell at Magnum Targets, they are also made of AR500 steel. So you can shoot those all day long, and you're not going to hurt them. But they do good. They do good. Same basic setup, same cheap paint that we use on them, and they work very well. And again, those are Magnum Targets, and they should be. Get my handy this out. If I can measure it, if I can do this and hold this and bite my tongue right. Yep, they're 3/8. 3/8. 3/8 inch. So the Gong, my favorite targets. Absolutely love these things. And you can see they're on a T-post. If you watch Hickok 45's videos, his channel, you should go check that out if you like to shoot, by the way. That is where I got inspiration to have a Gong. So much so that I got two. These suckers right here are 2 feet. These are big AR500 Gongs. They are very heavy. It takes 2 people. Well, it took me and one of my sons to get it out here. And also, of course, it's on a T-post. We've got this little handy mount right here. Now, about these. I bought these suckers on eBay, and they do outstanding. I cannot find the name of the place. So I don't think that they sell them online anymore or whatever. So I don't have any link to them. But again, they are 2 feet, and they should be. Where's our official? Yeah, we'll call it 3/8. 3/8. So far, everything's 3/8. I'm pretty much at all this. And we absolutely love these. I do not shoot this with rifles up this close. And also this mount up here. So this mount's kind of interesting. I found this on Amazon, this mount. I'm going to put a link to the mount below. And the link on Amazon was like, gosh, it's like 18, 19 bucks for this. And these things stay out here and they do wonderful. There's a little rust right there, but we'll just hit that with the paint next time. That's fine. It'll buff out. The reason I say that is when you go to some sites like Magnum Targets, they actually sell these for $60. So, you know, use your Google machine. You can find all this stuff. And these are not the only places you can find these targets at, by the way. Do some research, do some reviews, look them up. But these stands, I've noticed that a lot of times they'll sell stands and all these other things that are very expensive. If you're going to leave them out there permanently, I love the T-post, especially where we're not on level ground. So a stand with legs would never work out here. They also make some there you can use lumber and wood and so forth. So depending on your needs, if you're going to be mobile, then something like this is not going to work. You're going to need something you can set up quick. But you can spend a lot of money on all these little crows. Can't you see that I'm down here filming? Stop it. All right, anyway. But love these targets. So here's where I'm kind of torn on these though. It takes a lot to move this, right? And when you shoot it with a 22, it doesn't even budge. It makes the noise, and 9mm does make it budge a little. Therefore, I'm not convinced that it's doing its, physics thing of moving and going down. Now you will see when you shoot this with like 9mm, 45, so forth like that, you will see a little dirt imprint down through here where it's doing its job. I would actually love to put one up there on the hill closer, but if I did, I would want it to be mounted like, at an angle. Just me personally. Trying to use that old, common sense thing because I could see that being up close, shooting one that big just for the fun of it, where you can pop off some shots pretty quick and something coming back. Again, common sense, because technically it is hanging like it's supposed to, but be careful, folks. Know what you're doing. And let's get up here, see if we can get up here and take a look at these. Let's climb up this hill. Oh, we're going to ignore that right there, that gigantic eyesore. Just pretend you didn't see it. And ignore all the bullet holes in it. This is a steep, tell you what, this is a steep hill, but it makes great for shooting against. Whoa, almost tripped. That's good. Okay, what do we got here? All right, so we got 2 more. This target right here. Now this one has been hit a lot. This is the same target. You can see here, I've actually got some pretty good divots. This is probably where I hit it with might have been a 30-06, I don't know. But this target right here and this target right here are both AR-500, just like all the others except for those small little ones. And you can see they've got those same Magnum targets. Both of these came from Magnum Targets. And, they do the same thing as the others. They're pretty self-explanatory, and we do shoot these with rifles pretty much. You can shoot them with a pistol if you're like, I don't know, if you can shoot like Hickok 45 does. I couldn't hit them with a pistol. I'm not that good, but I will shoot at them with rifles, and we keep those up here. These should be the same. I'm pretty sure they're going to be the same 3/8. Let's see here. What does it say? 3. If I can get it lined up right. 3/8. And this one back here, 3/8. So they do good. But they move, and when you pop that with a rifle, they move so hard, they'll slam into the little mount behind it. So, and it'll put a nice little divot right here in front of them. So those rifle rounds are moving with authority versus the pistol. And for those of you that shoot, know that. So they work good. And again, they stay out here, never had any problems. And this one, of course, again, has been beat on like crazy. Now this guy right here, this one is not any type of rating, I don't think. This thing is not, I don't even think it's pistol rated. So you can just see all the divots on it. And yes, I have hit this with a rifle a lot, including 5.56, 7.62 by 39, you name it. And I do hit it Somebody did give it to me. It's very nice of him to let me use it. But you can see it's a softer steel just from all this in here. Now, these divots that are in here, you think that, well, it's going to happen when you shoot it. The theory behind this that I read is that you don't want a lot of hard edges on these, because if you have a hard edge, it can change the way these things work, the way the quote-unquote physics works, and you can have a ricochet. I'm far enough away, I think I'm far enough away, and the way this thing swings when you pop it with a rifle, it swings like crazy. I actually hit one of the bolts one time and the whole thing just swung down. That was pretty funny. So, but this just kind of shows if you use weak steel, that's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen to it. And you can see that thing has just been chewed up. And I'm sure there's probably some out there that are a lot worse than that. But that is a good example of what you probably don't want to put out. So if you're buying stuff, make sure it's rated properly. And again, I would always just get AR 500 rated. You just can't go wrong for up close, for distance, whatever. But that's pretty much what happened there. So, and that is an old setting. I probably should try to change that a little bit. Maybe what I could do is just swap this target out and put something else up here. Maybe another silhouette up here on the hill. Might be a good idea. But this was, I think, the first target we put up here on top of the hill when we first got out here. And it does its job. I've actually zeroed a few rifles on it. Just took some paint and just put a little spray paint, like some white right there or whatever. And you can see where it hits. But it shows you. And here's what's funny is this is, I'm pretty sure, this is half, if I can get the camera in there, that's 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch steel, but it doesn't mean anything if it's softer steel. You can see what it's doing to it. So over time, if I kept just shooting at that thing over and over again, it would destroy it. And last but not least, up here on top of the hill, you can kind of see where we're at in relation. See the table way up there, and then our pistol target's right up in there, if it'll zoom properly. Another gong. This was the first gong we put out. Again, thank you Hickok 45 for motivating me to do that. And I do shoot this with rifles every now and then because it's AR 500 still, but I still am careful. Usually what I like to use this for is popping it with something like, pistol caliber carbines and also pistols. It's a lot of fun to shoot because that's about I want to say that's about maybe a 70-yard shot, 75-yard shot. So the target's pretty small, even though it's 2 feet from that far. So it makes it a lot of fun, but absolutely love it. And of course, it's got the same little mount up top. And this came from the same place. I am going to try to search for that place again, by the way, with this target to see if I can find any info on eBay, because I actually had a problem with it one time. One of them they sent me was wrong, and the gentleman was super cool and helped me to send it back and get something else. And these things are not freaking light. This thing, I think, is, I don't even know how much it weighs. It's a lot. I'll just put it that way. And this should be the same as the other one. Let's see here. 3/8. Yep, 3/8 inch. So there you go. There you go. So those are the targets. Again, if you've never shot steel and you want to try it, do it. Just, again, use common sense. Just, try to set it up so that you're not going to hurt yourself. I mean, don't go get a gong and put it 5 feet in front of you and say, well, it's going to move, and then you shoot at it. You're going to probably end up with a trip to the emergency room. So just be careful is all I got to say. But that is about it, folks. We're going to be wrapping this up. Short video, but wanted to just kind of show the targets. Hope it helps someone. Well, folks, as I said before, we're going to wrap this video up here. Kind of a short video, but wanted to kind of show the target setups we have out here. Like I said, when we first came out here, we didn't really know what we were doing. I bought the pistol targets when I learned I probably should have just done all rifle targets because of the cost difference and so forth. But again, we love it. It's a lot of fun. And the cool thing is if you've got a spot like this, you can change it. You can keep adding different stuff to it, and it makes shooting a lot of fun. All you got to do when you come out here is have a dang can of spray paint and just spray paint over them when you're done. It's as simple as that. If you've got any questions or comments, put them down below. I'd love to hear about it. This is one of these subjects that maybe some people have some questions. Hope so. I'd love to discuss it, or maybe there's something that you see that I'm not catching and that I'm doing wrong. Put it down there below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, I'm going to put a link to our No Rules Life Garage page. If you'd like to, go check that out. But as always, I thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll chat with you next time.